Hi guys, welcome to my very first installment of Behind the Stream. My name is Soul Lean Bass, and thank you for tuning in. The premise of this channel is simply to teach new streamers the ropes on how to stream, some tips and tricks on how to get your OBS settings working, which OBS to use based on what type of software and hardware that you're using. But today we're just going to focus on building your stream with your scenes. All right, so let's get started, guys. What we're going to do here is we're pretty much going to kick off with learning how to use some OBS settings. Right now I am using a display capture in OBS Studios. If you can see here, this is a add-on to regular OBS Studios, which is Stream Elements. And what Stream Elements does is provide a little additional information on your main OBS Studios overview. So over here, you'll have your activity feed, which is kind of tell you what's going on while you're streaming, basically let you know who's following you or who's any kind of alerts, basically who's following you, who tipped you, who set some bits over your way if you're a Twitch. Now this is actually synced and linked. The Stream Elements portion is actually synced with Twitch. It doesn't actually roll over to Mixer as of yet, but you can still use this if you are a Mixer streamer. If you don't want to have this side, you don't have to install this add-on. And then on another video, I will show you how to actually get this add-on updated into your OBS Studio. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to do, guys, let you guys know is that OBS Studio is free. So all you have to do is just go to your web browser, Firefox, Edge, Chrome, whichever one you want to use. And you're pretty much going to, let me move this up a little bit so you can actually see me. There we go. So you're pretty much going to go ahead and just download that. It is free. Once you have downloaded and you have it installed, you're going to have a screen that pretty much looks very similar to a black screen. You won't see my face. You won't even see this inception going on with how you can see my screen capture, that kind of thing. That's what that's called, is a screen capture. So go back into this little section right here. This is has this inception space. Basically, when you see this, you know that you are actually capturing your entire window on your PC. So the first thing you want to do, guys, is to go to your settings, okay? Now, when you open up your settings, the first thing you want to check is this, all right? You want to go into your Generals tab, and you kind of want to just take a quick little peek in your check, make sure everything is kind of nominal. Take a look at my settings. These settings are pretty much default. I haven't messed with any of this at all, so I'll leave this alone. The next thing you want to do is you want to go to your stream tab. Now this is important based on which platform you're going to be streaming in. If you're a Twitch streamer, you definitely want to select this area and select Twitch. It has the YouTube option. It has Smashcat. If you're a Mixer.com, make sure you select FTL, which is faster than lightning or faster than light. And you want to go ahead and do that. There are ways where you can stream on both ends, but for this purpose of the video, we're just going to select Twitch. All right. So when you go to Twitch, what you're going to do is, if you're switching to Twitch and you want to, this is very important to make sure that your stream is actually synced up and goes to your Twitch channel. And you're going to need to get the stream key. So in order to do that, guys, you're going to have to go ahead and go to Twitch itself. You have to log into your account. I'm assuming at this point you already have a account already created. In your avatar in the top right profile page, you want to go ahead and select on that. There's going to be a drop down page. Let me go ahead and mute that real quick. You're going to go ahead and select in your drop down box, go to your dashboard. Okay. When you go to your dashboard, this is where basically all your analytics of your page, all different types of settings that you can check. You want to scroll down on the right side in the panel here, and under settings, you want to click on channel, okay? And on the channel, you want to go ahead and see where it says primary stream key. You want to go ahead and copy that. So all you're doing is copying that right there. It's not showing. I strongly suggest to everyone, do not share your stream key, because anybody can grab that stream key and they can go and mess with your channel. You don't want to do that. As you can see, my stream key is not being shown, and I'm not going to. You can do some other options here as well. You can select to actually store some past broadcasts that you've had, mature content information, make sure people know that, you know, you're 18 plus, that kind of deal. But we're not going to go through these settings here right now. We're just going to focus on the stream key. So now that you got this stream key here, we're going to go back to, we're going to close this out actually. I'm going to come back over here because we need to come to this very shortly. And you just simply want to paste it into this bar right here. Once you have that complete, you hit OK. Let's go back to settings actually. And then we're going to go down to output. All right, guys, so this is important as well. This is where your output mode is for a lot of your your CBR, your ratings, your upload speed is important in this aspect. I have mine set to advanced. I can't change mine right now because, or open my settings any more deeper because I'm currently recording and it won't let you do that while you're recording. But you definitely want to make sure we're in output mode. Select advanced, okay? You're going to leave it on streaming side over here. I have my encoder here, Quick Sync H.264. Now this is important, guys. My current laptop does not have a graphics card. So therefore, it's going to use the CPU to encode the stream. Unfortunately, because of that, my quality of my is not going to be as great as if I had an actual graphics card. Plus, if I have animated overlays, either from the OBS library or Streamlabs, for example, library, it's just going to bog down my CPU. It's going to bring it up to like above 50-60%. It's going to cause a lot of frame drops. So I use the Quick Sync H.264. If you have a graphics card, make sure you select that. And if it's if it's an NVIDIA graphics card, I believe it's an NSYNC is the encoder you want to select. If not, you don't have a graphics card, definitely select Quick Sync H.264. All right, moving down, I see that as far as my rescale option goes, I have it at the 1920 by 1080. Make sure that is set there. Your target usage, I leave it as balance. I actually changed my profile and left it at main. That seems to work best for me at my current hardware specs. Now the keyframe intervals, this will be default at 0. I want you to change that to 2, okay? Go ahead and change that to 2. Your async depth is default at 4. I left that alone. And your rate control, you want to select CBR if it's not already selected as CBR for you. Now the bit rate here is important, and it basically calculates based on your upload speed. So guys, when it comes to streaming, it's not the download speed that's important. It is actually your upload speed. Now I currently have 10 megabytes upload speed, which is perfect, more than enough. I'm not going to set it up to all 10. I think the max you can do is around 4,000 to 5,000 anyway. So I kind of give myself a little leeway and leave it at 3,500. You can kind of like go back and forth and see which one works best for you and how much CPU usage that it uses, that kind of thing. But I keep mine at 3,500, 4,000 to be safe, and I still have plenty of upload space or upload speeds to work with for other devices within my network. And that's the gist of this particular output. Audio, we're not going to go over with it too much. I just leave that kind of default. I don't mess with it too much. Now, video is something you may want to play with as well. If you're looking up to the top here where it says base canvas resolution, I have mine set to 1920 by 1080. Guys, this obviously changes based on the size of your monitor, how the quality of your monitor, that kind of deal. But I leave mine at 1920 at 1080. That's the native setting. And my output scaled resolution, I also have it down to, I actually have this downscaled to 1280 by 720. This has something to do to make sure that everything just catches up. If there is a little bit of a hiccup in the stream itself, it doesn't have too much of a awareness. You won't be aware as a viewer too much when you're watching the stream itself. As far as the downscale filter, it's a bicubical sharpening scale at 16 samples. I left it there. And because I don't have a graphics card, my common FPS value is at 30 frames per second. Now, if I had a graphics card along with or working with my i5 Gen core right now, then yes, I would use 60 frames per second. There you have options of using 29.9, so just a tad below. Same thing with the 60 frames per second, like 59.5, just a tad below as well. So if you have a graphics card, definitely use 60 frames per second. But if you're like me and you're limited on your hardware and what you have, what's going on, you want to make sure you still can push out a quality stream, go ahead and select 30 frames per second. Now, hotkeys you can play around with. I don't mess around with it too much because I actually use my entire OBS screen to chat with the chat and play games with my viewers. So I don't mess with the hotkeys too much, but you can use it if you want to go ahead and mute your mic or change cameras or scenes, that kind of deal. And the advanced settings, I kind of just left alone. I haven't messed with any of the advanced settings. So that's what you want to do. The first thing you want to do is check out these settings here after you installed OBS Studio. Now these settings are very similar to Streamlabs OBS. So if you're using Streamlabs OBS and you have the graphics card and the hardware to handle the power that Streamlabs OBS demands, then you can go ahead and use these same settings and tips and tricks over there as well. So remember, start off at general. Again, that's open and set to default. Get your stream key from your source, whether it be from Twitch or Mixer. Take a double look at your output. Make sure you're setting for your streaming. Make sure your rescale output is set. Make sure your encoder is also set to where your hardware can be to work its best and be most optimized. And you want to make sure you check your keyframe to 2. And you want to make sure your rate control is set to CBR. And depending on your upload speeds is where you want to set your bit rate. Now you can always go to speedtest.net, run by Ookla, run a speed test that'll tell you how much your upload speed is, and you want to go less than half as far as what you want to use for your bit rate, which is mine is at 35. So there goes your settings for your OBS Studios. All right, so moving on to the fun part. This is where you start creating scenes, guys. So let me go ahead and switch over to my camera real quick. All right, so you can kind of see my face a little bit. All right, here we go. So welcome back. All right, so now we're going to get into the nitty gritty. We're going to get into actually setting up your scenes, how I set my scenes up, and you can kind of use the same type of template that I like to use. So right now you're looking at a video capture, okay? So video capture takes the camera that is in your PC, whether it's a laptop or you have a peripheral camera plugged into your to your PC, and it gives you the option to do that. So what you want to do, guys, is over here, let me switch back over to my display capture. I'm going to go ahead and quickly delete my camera so y'all can see exactly how I install that. All right. So now, again, sorry for the inertia. Try not to get too confused with it. Try to stick around these edges here, and I'll show you how everything it works. So here's your scene. This is where your library of different scenes are going to be, depending on what exactly it is that you're trying to create. So we can go actually and add different scenes. We can name them any which way you want. I'm just going to leave this as scene 1. And then over here is your next section is the sources. This is what you put into that scene, okay? So the first thing I want to do, guys, is this. I want to go ahead and add a camera, a video, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on this plus button or add button right here. You're going to have a list of options to choose from, all right? Now, the first thing you want to click on is your video capture device. This is for, obviously, your camera. So you click on your video capture device. You can go ahead and name your video capture device however you want. I'm using an internal camera, so I'm just going to simply name it internal cam. If you're using a Logitech or whatever, you can always put that particular source name of that particular product or product that you're using. And I'm going to hit OK. All right. So as you can see, this option comes up, and I don't really mess with these options here. So I just leave that alone. and I hit OK. There's my face. All right. Now, here's a couple cool things that you can do here before we go ahead and continue. Now, if you look down in this section here, you have your internal cam source and you have your display capture. Okay. And I'll tell you what that display capture is right now. But these little options here, these little icons, you got your eye and you got your lock. Your eye is basically showing, and if you click on it, it unhides that particular source in the feed. Okay, so now all you see is my my face from the camera. Now I'm going to go back and click on the actual camera source itself, and you'll notice that you'll have a red border around that you can actually resize, reshape, move it around, all that fun stuff. Okay, now when you want to reshape your scene, say for instance I want to keep it straight right there. All right, I want it to go force. Now I can continue to go this way, but unfortunately just going to stretch it all the way out. It's not really the best option too. So with anything that you put in there based on what it is, if I wanted this particular source to stretch the entire width of the feed, I'm going to hold the shift button and then I'm going to go ahead and drag that over, and boom, it snaps it right into place. You have your full feed directly into your actually you have your camera or your source all covered in your entire feed. So enough with that. We're actually going to leave that there for right now. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and delete this display capture, and I'm going to show you what that does here in just a second. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go over, you can't really see what I'm doing, but we're going to go to scene and we're going to add another scene. And I'm going to leave this one as scene 2 as default. And then I'm going to go to sources. And in sources, I am going to select display capture. And what display capture does is displays your entire window on your PC. So as you can see here now, you can see my entire window on my PC. And if you look over here, I have my scene here, my scene 2. All I did was click on this add button right here, and it gave me the option to name my scene. Once I named my scene, I came over to my sources. I clicked on the plus sign, came all the way up to display capture, and have my display capture. So I already have an existing display capture. I don't need to add another one, so I'm just going to cancel and leave that there. All right, so that's how you can sit there and easily create your very first scene. All right guys, so what I want to do now is I want to show you where I go to find overlays. Okay, overlays is something that a lot of streamers use to put additional information onto your feed so your viewers can see what's going on behind your gameplay or in front of your gameplay, depending on how you set it up. So let's move forward. We're going to go over to the web. We're going to go to the web right now, and this is a source that I go to get my overlays. It's called player.me. And it is also free to use as well. You can go pro if you choose to, but they have a wonderful selection of overlays that you can use to add a little bit more quality to your stream as well. So over to the right here, guys, you have under the create section, you have my overlays and you have your dashboard. I'm going to click on my overlays. I already have a list of overlays already. So we're just going to click on one. But you know what we can do is, before we click on one, if you don't have a library already and you're new to player.me, just click on add overlay. You have these options to choose from, each overlay based on what you want to do. If you want a starting scene, you want an in-game scene, you want an intermission scene, or you even want to customize your scene itself. So let's say we want to do an in-game scene here. You go ahead and it opens up a whole list of browsers, a whole library of different overlays that you can use, and there are in alphabetical order. So you can kind of go through here, see which ones you like. You can actually hover over one, hit the magnifying glass here to kind of give you a sneak preview of what your overlay would look like if that's something that you like based on the color scheme and theme. So since we already have one, I don't need to pick one. So I am going to go ahead and use this one here. Okay. And I'm going to show you what it looks like. I'm actually going to go in. I can actually select this link here and go ahead and copy it all the way in, but I'm going to show you that a little bit later. So this is one of the scenes that I use. You just simply click on it, hit edit, and it's going to open up another browser. As you wait for it to open up another browser, you pretty much get this right here in front of you. Okay, this is pretty much letting you know what your scene looks like, what themes that you're using, what kind of overlays that you've selected. Now I will on another video show you how to customize each video, or excuse me, each scene from player.me. It's really in depth. It does take a little bit longer than what this video is meant to be, but this is just quick and easy, fast and breezy. So you have all these different options here. When you do find one that you like, you simply hit the save button here. It saves everything for you. You could even go ahead and launch a test, and it goes into a different window so you kind of test and see what's going on. Down here is what you're really testing, so you can test your follow button and show what's going on there. You can test your subscriber button, see what that looks like. You can tips, what that looks like as well, and also your host. All these are just alerts things right here. All right, so we're gonna back out. And what we do at this time, guys, is you're gonna hit your launch button. Okay. Now, another thing before I forget to mention, when you click on this overlay that you want to use, it's going to ask you if you want to use it for Twitch, YouTube, or Mixer. So make sure you select the platform that you're streaming on, and it'll go for there. That way any alerts that you use or that you choose to use on your scene will actually count towards that particular platform. If you're streaming on multiple platforms, make sure that you create a brand new scene and allocate it to that particular platform. That way when your alerts don't actually stack up on each one. So for example, if you're streaming on Twitch and YouTube, for example, and you get new followers, that follower count will, if you end up choosing the same scene for both of them, that follower count will stack on both YouTube and Twitch. But if you create a scene specifically for YouTube itself, then all your followers and your subscriptions will count towards that YouTube channel, because that particular service is being used for YouTube, and vice versa if you're using Twitch, Mixer, or whatever. So you want to create separate scenes for each platform using player.me, which isn't really that hard, because really you can duplicate a scene and just change the service, and that again will be in a different video. All right, so what I've done is I'm going to go ahead and hit launch, and I'm going to copy the URL overlay. Simple, breezy, just like that. Another thing you can do too is if you already have a scene created and you're trying to create something on the fly, you can click this here, this little link icon, and that will do the same thing. And now we're going to move over to our OBS studios, and in the source, you want to click on the add button, and you want to go ahead and select browser. You want to, I'm going to name my scene because my scenes are different. My in-game scene is going to be different than my starting scene, as well as my intermission scene. As more, whatever scenes you create, you want to make sure that it's different, because the scenes are actually different. So I'm going to change this one up. I'm going to name this one, so I'm going to name this one Twitch, since it's for my Twitch stream. And I'm going to name it Assassin, since that's the name of the actual overlay that I'm using. And I'm going to remind myself that this is in-game, live in-game. And that's pretty much how I set it up there. All right, so this is a good sign. What you want to do now at this point is you want to go ahead and highlight your URL and simply paste that link that you copied into that URL bar. The next thing is very important, guys. You want to make sure that your overlay is in the entire feed. So The width, you guessed it, is going to be 1920. And your height is going to be 1080. Why? Because that is the scale that we're using. Frames per second at 30. That's where we're leaving it at. Now here, depending on what you want to do, this is completely optional. Sometimes you can actually change things on the fly on player.me, and it'll change it for you automatically on your OBS without having to reset or recopy your links over. If it doesn't do that, all you got to do is really select these buttons right here, and it'll refresh every time you change the scenes, and it'll refresh for you. But we're not going to do that right now. We're just going to hit OK, and you're going to see that it's going to pop up. Boom. There we go. So what I'm going to do now, so you can see it, is I'm just going to pretty much hide my display capture, and now you can see my overlays. All right. Awesome. Very good. Very good. So now my overlays are in. Now, another thing that I want you to make sure that you do is, let's do this. Let's unhide and show my overlays real quick. And let's make it a little bit easier for you to see what's going on. So I'm going to make it just fit here just fine so you can see what's going on as well in what I'm doing here in the OBS. So you can lock this, and what that does is keep you from actually accidentally moving things around when you are trying to create or edit or tweak your scene a little bit, so don't accidentally move it out of position. So you can just lock it to keep that from happening. So one thing I want you to notice too, and want you to be aware of, is that in the sources, you got to kind of think this as everything being a layer, okay, being stacked. So for instance, if I go ahead and change the placement of my overlay, which you always want to be on a top, because everything behind it is what you want your overlays to be in front of your sources, of your other sources, whether it be your videos, whether it be your game capture, anything else at all. So you want that to be in front. So think of the top being the front of the scene or the feed. So if I switch it down, actually, let me be better if I actually unlock this and show you exactly what I mean. So, all right. So now you can't see my overlay, right? So you can come down here. These arrow buttons will adjust the order. I'm going to select up. Now you can see my overlays. So you want to make sure that you put in the correct side. All right. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a camera. You know, I just realized that I selected the wrong overlay. So let's do this. Let's go back to if you notice, I actually selected this one, no cam. Sometimes I stream with no camera throughout the stream. This one has the camera, so I'm going to go ahead and select that clip right here. Come back. Now, if you need to do a quick adjustment, just right click and go to properties. This pops up again. Highlight that, delete it, and copy the new overlay in. The width and size is the same. Hit OK, give it a moment, and boom, it's all popped in. All right. So that being said, now I can go ahead and add a camera to my camera frame over here. In the meantime, let's do that. I'm going to hit plus. Remember what I did last time in the scene 1? We went to video capture. Since I already did this in scene 1, I don't have to redo this, rename anything or anything extra. All I got to do is click on add existing, click on internal camera, and that pops on right there. All right. So now at this point, I can go ahead and adjust where I want my camera at. So I'm going to go ahead and, for me, I'm going to get the little corners right here. I'm going to grab this corner and shrink it, get it to size right about there. I highlighted the other ones instead. So let me go ahead and fix this real quick. Let me put that back up there. All right, very good. So now you see the camera. Let's do this. Let's put it up front for real quick, because I just want to make sure that my frame, that my picture or video is right at the frame where I want to be. Now I'm going to come over here, hold the shift button, and raise it just a bit to fit the frame of my camera. All right, very good. So that's taken care of there. I can go ahead and lock it, and then I can go ahead and bring it below the actual frame. And as you can see, now I have a camera right in my frame, and it's that easy. All right, so that's going to be it for now for this video. I hope I was able to answer some questions. There's more videos to come as far as how to do some more advanced features and advanced settings and customizations within your OBS and using player.me overlays. A lot of these tips and tricks will actually transition to other sources and other software like Streamlabs OBS. So if you like what you see, if this video was able to help you out, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let me know that I'm doing a good job. If you have any questions, go ahead and hit that comment. This was my first video, so don't bash me too hard, guys. I'll get this going pretty fast. Other than that, y'all guys have a wonderful, wonderful day, and thank you for tuning in to Behind the Stream.